Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining. Welcome to At Uniforms Unleashed, part of our webinar series. Appreciate everybody's time today. And so for our agenda today, we're going to talk about uniform programs and their importance, the complexity in running uniform programs, creating an employee-centric experience for the shoppers. Talk about some use cases, and then how we can take e-commerce technology and help you leverage that with your clients and their employee base. Whether you're a manufacturer, distributor, or retailer, everyone is going after some type of a program to count. Doesn't matter how small they are or how large. We all do great business with our e-commerce experience where, people like Nancy Cardona can come on and buy a shirt and a pair of pants, and it's a great experience. So how do we take that experience and develop it for an employee base where we have to control everything from products to shipping to how they buy their garments? And all of you are facing that right now. You're all looking at customers like that to help grow your business with. So it really does not matter the type of client you have. It comes down to what the rules are that they put in place for their employees, which is simple. We create a uniform program. Here's our product offering. Now, how do we take that and simplify this for the employee? Make it easy for an employee to come in, just buy what it is they have to wear. They don't have to think about it. It is all laid out for them by using some type of an e-commerce portal. You can take the guesswork out of the uniform buying for the employees, even down to the branding of the apparel. They don't have to worry about logos. They know which one comes on the product. Personalization, they type a name and things like that. But it's just simplifying this process and making it easier for the shopper to buy only what they're allowed to buy. In many ways, they help your customer because we're controlling what the employee buys. We're controlling budgets on how employees are allowed to spend. We're giving your customer, the admin, the ability to run reports so they can track these orders, track their employees, track their funds. So for all those great ways we're helping your clients, that factory down the street, that hospital down the street, it's also helping you and your team in simplifying the ordering process internally for you to fill these orders. So really, everything we're doing that benefits the employee is also benefiting the distributor. And I'm just going to put everybody in under that distributor title because whether you're a manufacturer or a retailer, you're still just distributing those uniforms. So let's talk about the complexities in managing a uniform program. And there are so many. And everybody's going to be different. Everyone who's on this webinar today is going to have different needs based on different customers, but these are we'll look at the top 5, or what we kind of see as 5 most important throughout all of our customers. And that's going to be security. And your customer is going to want to know, how are we securing the site? How do we control what the employees see? When we did things manually, it was so much harder to control a uniform program. And with e-commerce, we're streamlining everything. So an employee's login shows them what they can buy. That's it. There's all the guesswork is taken out. So what is that security? It is controlling a product based on a job, whether it is the type of uniforms they're allowed to order, FR versus non-FR. Are we controlling color? If I'm a hospital, what color am I allowed to have based on a department that I work in? It's a security uniform, things like that. So really just making that buying process simpler by selecting the product specific to a job role. And then we're controlling the customization. For the most part, everybody gets that same logo. I'm a McDonald's worker, I get this logo. But now you're also going to have customers where they get the logo and they get to have their name put on it. If I am a police department, I have layers of customization based on a product type. Not across all items, but a shirt gets something different than a jacket, gets something different than a vest. So that ability to create those different customization rules for each customer and each employee within a customer is tremendous. It also cuts back on returns because they're getting exactly what they're supposed to have. Diverse needs. You're going to have accounts where everybody has the same buying rule. They all get $200 a year to spend on uniforms. But if we look at a factory, we look at a police department or a fire department, you're going to have work groups that get so many products per year, another work group that gets so much money per year. Then you're going to have another work group that buys with a purchase order, a quartermaster, a materials facilities manager, where everybody's buying in bulk. So to be able to give those different rules within not only just one account, but to have a software solution that gives you those different rules based on the various types of customers you have. Incorporating multiple payments. You know, when I started 8 years ago, if you got an allowance, you just got an allowance to spend on your uniforms, and that was it. Now, companies want employees to be able to buy additional products on their own outside of that annual spend, be it a quota of garments or an annual dollar allowance. So we have to be able to roll over to payroll deduction. We have to be able to roll over to credit card, things like that. And then scalability, how to take one account and grow with it. So you start with a franchise group, you sell corporate casual, and I'm a franchisee for Hilton, and I have one brand. Well, now I'm going to start building other hotels within the Hilton brand. So now I've got 2 brands, and now I have 3 brands. And how you take one website and have it satisfy all the needs for the 3 brands. We have different uniforms for each brand. You know, if we look at Marriott Hotels is one uniform selection. Marriott Courtyard has another uniform selection. And then the next level and the next level. So how can we take all of those different types of brands within one account and service it all through one website? In the old days, you built a website for each brand. Now we can build one website to satisfy all those needs. Same for industrial. A steel mill buys out another steel mill. An airline buys out another airline, whoever it might be. You need a solution you can grow in. So we're not recreating the wheel every time your customer gets bigger. We're just expanding the software to match the client's needs. Okay, how do we make uniform programs employee-centric with technology? We talked about this for a little bit, organized group purchasing. Incredible in the hospitality space. Any type of franchisee group, be it food service, hotel, frankly, even retail. Somebody who has multiple retail stores throughout, and you're providing the uniforms because we're creating that group purchasing by location and the types of products they buy and their shipping and all the rules there. Quotas and allowances. You know, back in the day, this was all done on spreadsheets. It was done in scratches, paper here and there. How do we control the spend so an employee isn't overbuying, whether it's so many garments a year or so many dollars a year? This was very hard to control years ago. E-commerce takes all the work off of everybody's plate in making sure that that employee is satisfying their uniform needs based on what's being given to them. Hierarchical approval. More and more we're seeing this, where, let's say for corporate casual or even medical and public safety, when we have a buying manager or a group of employees who do not get that quota or allowance. So they're buying on a PO, they're buying on a net 30, whatever you have set up with the customer. But we need to be able to control the order somehow. Now, is it just a single level control where when I go on and place an order from my location, my boss, John, just approves the order? Now we're starting to see things where we want to be able to control that approval at a dollar level. So if I place an order for $600, John can approve that because he can approve up to 1,000. But anything over 1,000, then that order is going to redirect to Sam, and Sam's going to approve that order because he is of higher authority. So this is a great tool when controlling spend. It's a great tool for you to give to your customers on how you can help them control their annual spend, which is key. So people just aren't over ordering. And of course, those payment and shipping rules. We've talked about allowances, we've talked about rolling over to credit card and payroll deduction, things like that. But another key factor is controlling the shipping. So if I am an industrial laundry and I have a local plant, I have a Ford Motor plant down the street, I'm going to deliver those orders. I have trucks going all over the county because I'm an industrial laundry. So I can have all of that controlled by the employee, because if that plant has multiple locations or just multiple buildings within, we can assign employees into a shipping group. We can control shipping. Even, as well, thinking about shipping, if Ford Motor is one of my customers, they get a great shipping rate, we can tie a Ford Motor shipping account with UPS or FedEx into the software. So you're pulling those rates. So there's a tremendous amount we can do with shipping now that, 10 years ago, you really couldn't do. But particularly that ability to control the shipping address at the employee, at that shopper level. Why it helps? Well, it helps from your public buying. Brings people in, they place their orders, it's hassle-free. But when it comes to the employee base, it is really just providing an easy way for employees to buy uniforms. They're ordering the right products at the right price with the right logo, shipping to the right location. It is hassle-free. E-commerce technology should always be mobile responsive because employees don't sit at a desk and order. They're out in the field, they're on equipment, they're down on a factory floor, wherever it might be. So can they order on a cell phone, a tablet, a laptop, and so on? When we look at accurate ordering, obviously it's accurate ordering for the employee because we're telling them what they can buy. But where this falls into place for the distributor is by not having those faxed orders and email orders and then transferring those into a different type of report or format to fill the order. By having it all come in through an e-commerce portal, you're removing that step of where there could be human error in recreating these orders inside of your system internally. So that's really a key factor as well for a distributor. So use cases for successful uniform employee programs. When we look at group ordering and how we're setting up an e-commerce platform for an end user, at least on our software, we have employee groups, we have product groups, payment groups, those manager approval groups, and shipping groups. And this is what allows us to set an employee up properly so their ordering process follows all of those rules set up for them, and they don't even know it's taking place. But it's organizing it for the shopper, and it's really organizing it for you and your client, that admin, that, president, CEO, whoever you're working with, these, factories and hospitals and hotels. When you're talking about providing a solution to make the uniform ordering process easier, and it's all about how we set that up in the system, and tying an employee into these top 5 groups makes it just a fail-safe process for that employee, as long as they're ordering through the portal. Okay. When we talk about quotas and allowances, they're going to vary from customer to customer. I think a really good example of a quota is an airline. So let's look at somebody like JetBlue. With an airline, quotas are based at product and the longevity of a product. So I'm a captain. I get, 2 suit coats a year, 3 pair of pants a year, 1 hat every year and a half, 1 leather bomber jacket every 2 years. So how to take one employee and set up those different quota rules at the product level and replenishment rules, because quotas and allowances, they re-up every year on average. But we still need to be able to take certain products and have a different re-up or replenishment time on their quota ledger. And to be able to do that and allow the system to handle that. I could be a factory, or let's say I'm oil and gas. I work for ComEd here in Chicago. If I'm a lineman, I have certain FR clothes. The employees get so much money a year. And instead of that $500 a year, the employee can buy anything they want, but we can still put a quota on an item, like a jacket or a bib coverall. Those are expensive items. To be able to do a quota within an allowance base is awesome. You're controlling costs to the customer. Again, we're controlling everything the employee is allowed to see. And those 2 rules are going to be huge in your airline and any of your heavy industrial accounts will be kind of the mix of quota and allowances. Supervisor approval, of course, that can be used across any employee base, traditionally used across the employees that don't have a buying rule other than purchase order. And the payments and shipping rules, we talk about payments, what's that ledger, allowance, quotas, they get to roll to credit card, they get to roll to payroll deduction. And payroll deduction, this is a key. In the old days, a retailer would control payroll deduction on a notepad. That's what all my customers have told me over the years. But to have a software that can say an employee can deduct $35 a paycheck, not to exceed $150 over 4 paychecks or 5 paychecks. To have the software controls that guarantees the employee is not payroll deducting so much that when they get their paycheck, most of it's now been spent to cover uniforms. So this is a key factor in medical and your clinic groups and your hospitals to be able to make sure your employee isn't hurting themselves by over selecting payroll deduction, because we can set those great rules.